Hello viewers, welcome back today again to another interesting edition of your program, Believers Takeover. Ndubisi Dejorokalu is my name, and today, as promised, we will be bringing you the concluding interview, the very interesting concluding interview we had last time with Dr. Philbert Onugha, who is the CEO and the Managing Director of I Trade Up Global Limited. It's a fitness, financial fitness company, and he is also the CEO of Steady Growth Properties. We had a very interesting time with Dr. Onugha, and Doctor, it's indeed a pleasure again welcoming you.
Thank you.
Here.
Pleasure is all mine.
I will say, in fact, I've been trying to ask you this question, and the last time we had a discussion, you fired up our brethren up there, and I would like to know how will you let a believer know when God is calling him or her to venture into this area of business? What are the things she may see or he may see to indicate that God really wants the person to move into this sphere of business influence?
Okay. By this area, you mean forex trading, or properties,
Wherever.
whatever.
Taking up
Okay.
the position in the financial, the business sector. Yeah.
Okay. It's important to approach this from a perspective of, from a value-based perspective. What it means is this: what solution are you bringing to the world? Of what relevance is what you are doing to the world out there? And a sense of mission is what will drive your accomplishment.
Okay.
For a believer, you don't just set out to do whatever it is that you feel you want to do. It's important to do, one, something that is in line with your beliefs,
Okay.
something that gets you not just on your feet, but on your toes. It puts the fire in your belly. You can't wait to wake up every single day to get to it. You know, it's important to identify your purpose. Trying to make this as relatable as possible so we don't just use spiritual terms like calling.
Yeah.
However, it's important for people to identify their purpose as early as possible. It could be from inclinations to what you are really good at or something that really drives your curiosity. And once something drives your curiosity, it empowers knowledge in that area, because you want to fill up that curiosity with knowledge. You want to get to know what makes it work. And in the process of that discovery, you now begin to realize, oh, I really love doing this. You see, it's important. But I feel as individuals, first we should seek for something that is valuable and how we can be of value to our world. What are you bringing to the table? Are you bringing prayer and fasting to the table? Or are you bringing a skill set to the table? It will interest you to know that a lot of people are not employable. Let's not even talk about getting into business or whatever. A lot of people are so valueless that they are unemployable. I mean, they've not developed requisite skill. They don't have the right training. You know, a lot of people walking through our doors most times, and when we have openings and we put out the information out there for people to apply, it will interest you to know that during the interview sessions, you begin to wonder what kind of people are out there. You can interview 100 persons and not even find one person qualified for the position. All talk, no work. When you begin to ask questions in line with what they've studied or questions in line with what they can do,
don't get it.
practically, you find nothing. So what we have are a whole lot of people out there who are not growing, who are not developing, who are not learning requisite skills, who have zero passion for anything, but somehow wonder how they are doing nothing with their lives. What should you do with your life if you know nothing? People are destroyed, not for lack of opportunities, but for lack of knowledge.
Absolutely.
For you to earn more, you must first become more. Don't come to tell us how much we should pay you. Come to tell us how much value you can bring to the table. And it's impossible to keep a good man down. If you are so good and you are not valued where you are, people that will realize your value will take you out of that place that you are. So get good. Be valuable. How do you identify your calling? You identify your calling, number one, by the things that you are really passionate about. Number two, by the needs you see around you that you can't wait to meet. Number three, the fire in your belly, that passion that keeps you restless. Something you see happening around the world and something tells you it can be better. Or you hate poverty and you see people suffering and you are like, what skill can I learn that will first change my life, empower me to empower others to be transformed? And in the pursuit of that mission, you begin to find your calling. This is so important that we pay attention to this. We have a lot of people who are just praying and hoping that manna will fall from heaven, or praying and hoping that someone will call them and give them a job. Some people are even thinking, oh, I wish that at a point one of my rich uncles would just call me and favor me. Crap. Favor cannot be sustained without skill and knowledge. Wow. You favor a poor man, he's a favored poor man. He will soon be back to his poverty. Favor will not change your story. The knowledge, the skill, and the value that you represent will change your story. Reason why it's difficult in our world to find wealthy people who, quote and unquote, are necessarily helping the poor.
Okay.
Because even Jesus said, the poor you will have with you always. He casted out demons. He delivered the oppressed. But what did he do for the poor? He said he had the gospel preached to the poor. Why? Because the problem is not a problem of empowering them with physical money. It's a problem of a transformation that needs to happen in their mind. They need to move from dependence to independence. Wow. They need to move from being the victim to being the one providing the solution. They need to move from being the recipient to being the one giving the solutions. This is what we need to be of value to our world. Anything that is done anywhere today can be done better. If you find something you really love to do and someone else is doing it, submit to mentorship. Learn.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself. Go and volunteer. I don't believe that there should be anybody out there who does not have a job. Why won't you have a job? Are you that lazy? Or are you waiting for someone to call you and pay you? Why should I pay you when I'm training you? So go volunteer. It's an easy access to learning. There is no organization, as long as you're an able-bodied human being with faculties that work, they can train you and put you to reasonable work. As long as you show yourself to be the type of person that is teachable and coachable, and you are willing to learn, they can guide you in the process of that. But the problem is, you don't have anything to bring to the table. You want to be paid for bringing nothing. Who does that?
You know, you speak of, you know, when I listen to you, I'm so delighted that somebody that has the depth of knowledge you have is actually representing the kingdom of God in your sphere of influence in business. What I want you to talk about right now is, what were those signs you received from God when that made you know that you were actually fit for this area of business influence? What were those things you received from God, those encounters you had that, you know, kind of made you think, this is an area that I think that God is calling me to venture into?
Some things are really very personal and I will not share to the public, but I'll try as much as I can to share a few things. In 2018, I had a nudging in my spirit about a change of times, and I started talking about it. I was calling it the time of the intangibles. Why? Because I could see clearly that there was a shift happening in the world. There is more money from the intangible than the tangible. So therefore, I started looking out for ways to give it expression, because you see, what do I mean by the intangible? Things we can't see, things we can't touch, yet they are so powerful. For instance, talking about cryptocurrency. It's so powerful, so incredible, can completely transform your life, yet nobody knows the color of Bitcoin, and it's still valuable. I mean, it's a legal tender even in some countries.
Wow.
You understand? So our ability to understand changing times. Because what is poverty? Poverty does not mean that a man is unintelligent. Intelligence is the acquisition of information.
That's right.
Poverty does not mean that a man is not educated. There are a lot of educated people out there.
Poor. Even Christians as well.
Poverty simply means that the world has left a man behind, meaning a man has gotten so good in something that is irrelevant. He becomes poor. A good man, a believer, intelligent,
Tongue speaking.
educated, tongue speaking, vibrant in the spirit, terribly poor. Why? 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 That's the question we should ask ourselves always. Because a lot of people have refused to pay attention to changing times. So in 2018, I saw this shift, which I call the time of the intangibles, and I started intentionally telling everybody, pay attention to the digital space, pay attention to the online space. Whatever you are doing traditionally, locally, can go global if you can think digital, if you can think of, even for the guy selling on the roadside, can you
Improve his
can you improve on
business.
this? Can you sell it online? Is it possible to take a snapshot of these clothes that you have right now, create a social media account and at least just upload it there and sponsor it, and you get clients online. There is a limit to what you can do in your physical space. At most, you interact with 20, 50, 100 persons at most. But put it online and you sponsor it and it reaches 1,000 persons at once. And people can place orders and you can use delivery agents to deliver it. Just think. You understand? So I started seeing the change from that perspective. So we began to explore opportunities within the digital space that individuals can take advantage of. In the process of that, we dabbled into some of them that are terribly bad, Ponzi schemes that people disguise as businesses, and we are quick to identify it because I identify business from a standpoint of value.
Okay.
Business has nothing to do with money. Provide enough value, money will look for you. So this was how we were able to identify things that were not right. How can you make money for doing nothing? Somebody tells you, oh, you bring this person and bring this person, you make so and so money. Bring this person and bring this person to do what? What is the value on the table? So those are Ponzi schemes. You push them aside. Talking about the digital space, you need to find real value that can transform an individual's life, that the value on its own can stand alone.
All right.
Meaning that you don't need to bring anybody or earn any form of commission for you to experience the value that the thing represents. Hence, we discovered the financial market. It's been there for years. And I've heard about it severally. I've even experienced it to a reasonable extent. But in 2018, we became more intentional about not just experiencing the resources and the opportunities within the digital space, but to also find it as a vehicle that can empower other people. Hence, we founded I Trade Up Global in 2018 with a mission to empower 1 million families globally to live an extraordinary lifestyle of freedom. And this is over 5 years now. And in 5 years, we've operated, currently impacted people from more than 35 countries around the world, and we have thousands of people who have been reached through our educational systems, who have been empowered through the use of our tools, lots of families who are smiling and happy today because their personal economy is improved and they are doing better. And the good thing about this is that it does not affect your current job or business. All you have to do is just pay attention, develop relevant skills, improve your knowledge base, and it becomes a skill that can pay you from any part of the world. So how do believers now identify their calling? Look for the problems around you to solve.
Society.
You are the light of the world, not the light of the church. You come out, whatever hurts you, whatever hurts you is an indication to a problem you are created to solve. You understand? Whatever hurts you, when you see people suffering and it hurts you, it means it shouldn't stop at that level. You should push it even further to think of the solution that can help these people. Oh, the Bible recorded on several occasions, and Jesus moved with compassion. Moved with compassion. It hurt him to see people suffer. So you see people suffering in a certain area and it really hurts you that bad. How bad does it hurt you?
See, when I listen to you, I kind of pick that thing that Jesus is in you and reaching to society. And that is, I believe, what his intentions were when he prayed that prayer. Lord, let your kingdom come. You know, here is Dr. Onugha making the impact in the business world, you know, touching lives there. I want to go a little bit deeper now and more personal and more realistic now. How do you survive in this place of business without meddling in occultism? Is it possible for a believer to achieve such success like you've done without being involved in one secret society or one cult or the other? Is that possible?
The funny thing is this, you know, unfortunately in Africa, we have a religious perspective to everything. There's a place for the spiritual, but it's important to hold strong your beliefs. I strongly believe that the spiritual controls the physical. Now, we can't speak for a lot of people, but I can speak for myself. And I'm also being very careful in having conversations like this. Hence, we don't empower the lazy people out there who are strongly believing God to change their story. I mean, people who are believing God to sit them down on this seat rather than them putting their butt on this seat. So there's a place for people applying themselves to learn relevant skills and all. But beyond that, you also have to hold strong your beliefs in God. For me, it's not just a belief, it's a conviction that God rules over everything. And in everything I do, it's God at the center. So it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to come out to the public and just say things that maybe you don't even practice. But when push comes to shove, you really know what you believe.
Okay.
You know, in business, you don't have an upward movement. It's not a straight line. There are fantastic times, there are not so good times, there are challenging times. If you don't look for a problem is looking for you. The question is this:
Absolutely.
how do you deal with all of this and maintain your sanity?
That's right.
There's a peace that comes from God that passes all understanding. And the only way you can have that peace is by operating the principles of the Bible. Not by reading the Bible, but by operating the principles, meaning being a practitioner of the word.
Interesting.
What are the values you represent? I strongly believe that the truth is good enough, so just tell it as it is. You understand? Say the truth, but at the same time, be wise. Be wise. You can't just say, oh, for me, I just want to. No, sir. Be wise.
It's wisdom.
Yeah, the wisdom of God, you know, it's important. And for you to also give yourself to learning. It will interest you to know that one of the strongest, most emphasized word in the Bible is knowledge. To the point that God said, my people are destroyed, not for lack of encounters, for lack of knowledge. Meaning a lot of people, regardless of whatever it is they are doing, just simply refuse to pursue knowledge.
Wow.
And by not pursuing knowledge, they are not able to give anything their best. And by not giving it their best, they don't get the result. And somehow, I think people find joy in analyzing other people's results to some power that is beyond them. So they can feel good in their laziness. Being a Christian has helped me so much because most of the principles that informs what we do is rooted in the scripture. I believe a person of integrity is a person you want to do business with. Okay. If you do business with me and you are cheated, next time, you'll not want to do business with me. And will I grow in business? No. Because the funny thing about the scripture is that everything in the scripture finds practical applications.
In reality.
You understand? In reality. So if you are a student of the word and a practitioner of the word,
Okay.
it's impossible to fail. It's literally impossible to fail, because I don't believe that there is any solution that is not in the word. But at the same time, you must give yourself to learning as an individual. So there is a fine blend here that I'm trying to balance. You know, I believe strongly in my beliefs in God, so much so that I place value on it above all else. Okay? I study the word every day. I fast twice every week. I do certain things, I pray and all of that. But in the midst of all of this, I study books that are relevant with what I do every day. I attend trainings every now and then. You understand? I give myself to research and development. Because you cannot just be of heavenly use without earthly value. Inspiration and ideas comes at a level that is even beyond this world. So paying attention to God and His Word enables this flow of inspiration and ideas.
I think we're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
You're saying something very interesting. But we will go on a break right now, viewers. I know you guys are excited. I'm not trying to take you out of the show. But we're going to come back after this break. Stay with us. Thank you.
Are you looking for premium media coverage with a touch of class and excellence? Welcome to Phoebe Ade's Media, where your moments meets mastery. We offer top-notch services and event coverage, weddings, conferences, birthdays, church programs, baby dedications, and more, directing, editing, and cinematic post-production, voiceovers, documentaries, and professional baby shoots, animations, short-form content, and social media visuals, script writing, content development, and creative consulting. With over a decade of hands-on media experience, both locally and internationally, we bring depth, creativity, and professionalism to every project, backed by a solid team of editors, animators, and videographers. We are equipped to deliver excellence always. Let's create magic together. Phoebe Ade's Media. We don't just capture moments, we preserve legacies. Call or WhatsApp us on 080-6626-3386. That is 080-6626-3386.
Welcome back, viewers. I know you guys have been fired up already. We're still going on with our interview with Dr. Philbert Onugha. Doctor, how beneficial is it for believers to have mentors who are well placed in the sphere of business they intend to venture into? What are the benefits of having such mentors, mentor them, from your experience though?
When you find a mentor, you find a shortcut.
Okay.
When you find a mentor, you avoid loopholes. When you find a mentor, you find success.
All right.
Mentorship is the easiest and the shortest route to success, because it's just like standing on the shoulder of giants or leveraging on the experiences of people that have gone ahead of you. It's so important. But the challenge is that are you even willing to be a mentee? Secondly, do you have what it takes to be a mentee? Because you see, coaching is different from mentorship. When I decide to be your mentor, it now means that your success becomes partly my responsibility. That's mentorship. Coaching is giving you guidance and instructions, and I don't monitor the process. If you like, do with it whatever you desire. Mentorship is beyond giving you instructions and guidance. Mentorship is about infusing in you the values, the mindset, the culture, the discipline that produces the desired results. Not just the what to do, not the how to do, but the why it should be done. God made his ways known to Moses and his acts to the children of Israel.
Correct.
They could see what was done, but they didn't know why it was done. Now, knowing the why is more powerful than even knowing how it should be done. You see, but this is the place for mentorship. Having people whose value resonates with you, having people who drink from the same well. You understand? People who hold the same value of truth, of integrity, of excellence, of commitment, of consistency. Having these people guide you on your path will help you have significant results. I always tell people, I say, there are two ways to have result, but there is only one way to have lasting result. You can have result by isolating yourself and learning and growing and developing and making all your errors and getting good. That's a rigorous way. There's a better way. A better way is to find yourself in an environment of people that believe what you believe.
Interesting.
But they have more result than you, and just stay in that environment. It's called an enabling environment.
Okay.
Because if you're on your own, there are chances you will be distracted. There are chances that you'll have your good and your bad times. There are chances that you may even give up. But when you are in an enabling environment and you face a challenge, it's nothing. You're talking about a challenge of 10 million, while somebody that is your mentor has passed through a challenge of 12 billion. So you see, your 10 million challenge is laughable, because you are in an enabling environment, an environment that makes you understand that, hey, this is normal.
Yeah.
There's a higher place.
Interesting.
But if you're on your own, this challenge will eat you up. It will be like, man, this is the end of the world. I can't see a way out of this. But someone that has been there, passed through more difficult situations than you are experiencing, laughs about it. Just that laugh alone gives you the confidence you need to scale through it.
Wow.
So the place of mentorship cannot be overemphasized. You see, it says that where there is counsel, there is safety.
Absolutely.
A companion of fools shall be destroyed. So mentorship is seeking counsel so you can have safe arrival. You understand? The only way you can safely arrive at your destination is through the guidance of someone who has
already been there before.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, this is interesting. You are pouring out very deep things that we can't even find. Viewers, you can't even find this in a master class. And I'm so glad.
And they have to pay for it.
Oh, yeah. You can say that again. we are in a continent that is so inundated with a lot of institutional challenges, where corruption has become a norm.
It's endemic
seemingly,
in the system.
Endemic. And what do you think about corruption, and how, what is the place of a believer like you in this system that seems corrupt, and what do we need to do if we get to the position where you are in this system? What do you think a believer should do, and how can he, position himself very well even in spite of this corruption that goes on here?
I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
I'll take it from the Bible because I read the Bible a lot.
Fine.
And I can give you another contemporary story and a more practical one that happened recently. But let's start with the Bible story. Jesus, being a great leader and an incredible teacher, had a lot of criticism in his ministry and in his life's work. At a point, he was with his disciples, and a lot of people, a couple of persons came to him and said, Master, what do you advise? This coin, what do we do? What was his response? He said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. Because if he had said, give it to God, they would say, no, you are kicking against our tradition. You are kicking against the norm. You are kicking against instituted policies. But he was wise enough to say, whose head is on that coin? Caesar's property, give it to him. Give to God what belongs to God. Your heart, your soul, everything that you represent, God made. Give that one to God. How do you thrive in a system that is quote unquote corrupt? Well, that would be a subject for another day, breaking down what is corruption. However, you must be as wise as a what? Serpent, and as harmless as a dove.
That's right.
So the Bible is so complete that it says the children of this world are more wiser in their generation than the children of the kingdom, because they don't know how to navigate. So it's important to hold strong to your convictions, but at the same time, it's important to operate in the wisdom of God.
Interesting.
The wisdom enables you to achieve results regardless of the bottlenecks that inhibits others. It's the wisdom of God. I think believers have to trust to operate in the wisdom of God.
Wow.
Because, I mean, practically speaking, in business, there are certain things people can even come to you with. I will give you an instance. We started out a real estate system.
Yeah, you said so.
And in this real estate system, we started a developmental project, acquired hectares of land.
Okay.
And we are to begin the first phase of development that will now enable other people to invest in the project.
Amazing.
Alongside, somebody came to me and was like, do you have all the money you need? I say, for a businessman, money is never enough except you've run out of ideas. If you give me 10 billion right now, trust me, if you meet me this time tomorrow, you will not find a dime with me, because there's a lot of things to do with it. And he was like, okay, can we put in some money and we get X, Y, Z? I said, of course, I'm open to investment. If you are looking at putting your money and we use it to work and you get X, Y, Z returns on an annual basis, that's incredibly fantastic. However, how do we proceed? This individual say, okay, oh, there is a set of guys, they are just looking for where to put their money and it is paid out to them monthly. I say, what you are saying now sounds like laundry, money laundering. That's what you are talking about. He laughed about it. I say, but you already know that we don't do things like that, because our systems and our books are very transparent, and all transactions will be done the right way. Pay the money through an electronic transfer or whatever means of payment you have. We have proof that the payment came from you, and then we can proceed. Oh, that put them on hold. The reason I'm sharing this practically is for you to understand how to navigate.
Okay.
Because now an ignorant person, which still brings back the place of knowledge.
All right.
Because an ignorant person can easily accept what will destroy
The offer,
them.
yeah.
No, it's an offer that can end your business overnight, because you will spend time trying to explain how so and so money came to you in cash, in bags, and how you spent them, not minding where the money came from. And you get intertwined with a problem you can't even explain. So there's a place for the wisdom of God. There's a place for learning and development.
Okay.
There's a place for having professionals practice what they spent years learning. You need to have accountants, you need to have lawyers, you need to listen to counsel from individuals who are specialized in certain areas to help you navigate. I mean, it's in Africa that we have people asking pastors for health problems, asking them for career problems, relationship problems. There are coaches and professionals in every area of everything that I just mentioned. But it's important for people to understand these places, these professionals, and pay for their services. And it helps you navigate. Because the problem most times is that people don't want to pay for value, but somehow they expect to have result. In business, it's value for value.
Okay.
And what you are running away from paying for you will pay dearly for it in the long run. So you better pay for the services of a lawyer. You better pay for the services of an accountant.
Get professional.
You better get professionals in the right place, because a silly mistake from you will eat up your business and eat you up. So the earlier you understand the value that these individuals represent and position them in their place of strength and value, the better for everybody. So as believers, we must operate in the wisdom of God.
Wow.
We cannot afford to be ignorant. We cannot afford to be lazy. We cannot afford to cover everything under religion. We cannot afford not to work and expect results. We cannot afford to be, you step into a place where you're supposed to speak professionally and you come up quoting scriptures. Are you normal? You need to come in there and shine as the light you are. Your mind has to be sharp. Your value has to be real. You understand? We use salt today, not minding the person who processed the salt, if he's a Christian or a Muslim.
That's correct.
When you feel headaches, you use paracetamol. You don't know if the person that made it is an atheist or a Christian, but you take it and it's
solving a problem.
It's solving a problem.
Society.
What problem are you solving? Must everything has to do with your Christianity?
That's an interesting
So
question.
if your Christianity has no value in earthly existence, of what value are you?
Speaking about value, and
Yes.
you have a lot of Christians now have become enlightened. A lot of believers now have become enlightened. Particularly, in fact, you make me want to see if I could start thinking of changing a profession and going into business. But what will be your words now to that believer that wants to get into business now, that wants to be like you? What would be your advice to the person? What must the person do now? What are the things they should do now? First things first.
The first thing that is important for a believer to do is, number one, understand what you want.
Okay.
Because you can't get there except you go there. Your mind must live in it. Write the vision down, meaning see the vision of your expected outcome and focus on that journey. Number two, be determined to go through the process. If you want a lion share, you should have a lion heart. Lion heart is not a bold face. It's having the mental toughness, the tenacity to keep moving on against all odds. And number three, be willing to learn what it takes. Be willing to learn. Guys, the world is a fast-changing place. The things you knew yesterday are fastly becoming obsolete. So how fast you learn and adapt will help bring your relevance. If you are not growing, you are dying. So what are you going to do if you are looking at being a success in life, whether being a good employee, being a believer in business? The good thing is that the most important part of the work is already done for you. If you are truly a student of the word and a practitioner, you have held onto the principles of truth, of integrity, of focus, of diligence. If you're a practitioner of the word, everything you need for success is already in the word. But the next thing you need is professional knowledge and insight.
Okay.
People who have been there, who understands the rope, who are not just talking it, but they are doing it practically.
Sure.
You need to go and serve those people.
Okay.
Serve them. I don't mean go to them as somebody who is trying to play smart. No, just go, be humble and serve. Ask the questions you need to ask, learn as much as you can, offer yourself. Come on, listen up.
Go ahead.
This is important because, see, we live in a world where especially the Gen Zs believe that when you are serving somebody, you are being used. You need to disabuse your mind from that nuisance. You are not. In fact, if you can't be used for anything, it means you are useless. So go and submit and be used. Yes. They shouldn't pay you. Be used. Get used to being used. You should be used. If you can't be used for anything, it makes you useless. We throw away things that are useless.
Right.
So go and be used. A lot of young people these days don't even want to serve nobody, want to learn nothing. And whenever they do any little thing, they expect so much because
but they wanna
they
be
have this
successful.
mindset
They wanna be
that
successful.
somebody is using them. So when you tell them, do this, you won't be paid for this. Because why should I be paying for no value? You came in so raw, not knowing anything. I'm investing my resources, I'm investing years of experience in you, I'm showing you the ropes, I'm guiding you, and you still expect to be paid heavily for doing nothing but learning? Are you okay? Be used. You will be used. Now I'm saying this more seriously because I feel this is a major challenge that a lot of young people especially have this notion that they can't serve nobody. And in the place of service, they are not serving, rather they are being used. No, that is not you. You must think long term. What you can learn through service, trust me, you won't know that outside of service. Because if you don't serve, you will not be shown the ropes. You may be told what to do, but you will not know why it should be done.
Wow.
It's in the place of service you know both what to do and why it should be done.
Okay.
And that's the only way to grow. If you want to be paid, please have some skills you are bringing to the table that allows you earn. But if you have nothing and you are coming to learn, but you are still expecting to be paid, come closer and receive a slap. Because
Doctor,
something is wrong with you.
Listening to you emphasize so much
Yeah.
in the place of serving and being used. There is something I see mostly in the Western world that I don't see here, and that is the aspect of volunteering. And I think this is something we don't see here. And many people have not gone into that area because they've not actually volunteered. You have poured out so much. You have poured out your heart to us here. And I just have to thank you for this time, availing yourself and your courage on, answering what God has called you to do and venturing into your area where you're making impact. And it is our wish that you will continue to be the shining light where you are. Dr. Philbert Onugha, thank you so much for being with us. Now, viewers, I'm glad that you enjoyed yourselves and you've learned so much. This is the time of the Apostolic Church, and it is the wish of God that His kingdom will come here, that we will make impact in the world today. And as you venture in there into the sphere of influence, I hope that you will remember these words that are being provided here. Until next time you join us in the program, Believers Takeover, I'm wishing you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again. Be blessed.